Hey everybody, welcome to the Three Gun Show. I'm your host, Dave Hartman. With me today is my good friend, Adam Maxwell. Hey,
What's up,
Max,
everybody?
welcome back, buddy.
Here at the center of the Three Gun universe.
It's great to see you. So in the last one we did about pistol, this one's about rifle.
Yep.
Someone said that you took a wrong turn somewhere.
I took a wrong turn somewhere. No, I'm working. I'm down here visiting a customer, and just so happens that I have the afternoon to hang out with Dave until my plane leaves tomorrow morning. So
there we go. So today we're gonna, I guess right now we're gonna talk about the 5 things to change on your rifle to improve your game today.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah. Well, so this is going to be a combination of the last one was all things you had to buy. This is a combination of things you're going to buy and things you're going to do. So I guess the first one's going to be the stock. The stock has to fit you, length of pole, comb height, all that stuff.
I feel like a lot of people, you ask them what the stock they use or whatnot, and they arrived at the stock that they like for no real good reason, other than they thought it looked cool.
I saw it in a Magpul video.
Yeah, so
which is totally fine, right?
I bought like 3 CTRs because of those videos, you know.
Yeah, CTR in the corner.
Hey, people, it's not radio, okay?
Yes,
you can't call in.
Can't call in, people. Come on.
Can't call in.
That's from Grants Pass, Oregon. You think that was Noveski?
Who cares?
So, all right. So we got the rifle here, and we're talking about the stock. So the reason I'm holding it like this is one easy way to check that you have the correct length of pole, and this is taught to me by Darren Sebeda recently. So finger on the trigger. This is in the crook of your arm, and it should just fit comfortable right there. Now, as far as comb height, it's going to be looking through the optic, making sure that you have proper cheek weld and that you can see directly through that optic. I found out recently by installing this stock that my preferred cheek height is much higher than other people. I feel like a lot of people get down here and use that mush on their cheek.
Right.
I use that cheekbone. And I've found that recently because a lot of people couldn't actually see through my optic on this rifle.
And a lot of people, especially, you know, hats off to you, but a lot of people from the military community, I mean, they had that like sucker punched into their head that this is the stock you will like.
Yeah.
You know, and so like,
that was the only one available, right?
Yeah. And they kind of arrived at some weird habits because of institutional inertia around some of these systems. Whereas if, you know, people will say, well, I like it that way, or that's what I'm used to. It's like, okay, well, does it make sense? Do you have good leverage on the rifle? Is it naturally presenting the optic to your eye? That's what's most important. You want to have good control over the rifle for good recoil, and then you want to have a good presentation of the optic to your eye. And the more your rifle doesn't fit, the more you are physically stressing your body trying to get there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, this is a new build for me, and it is much easier to shoot than my last rifle. My last rifle had an A2 stock, and I was constantly just doing those little micro hunts in the scope for the proper sight picture.
Well, like, I mean, if you're honest with yourself, most of us, once we start using these type of stock systems, if you really get into it and play around with it, usually this ends up canted one way or the other. If you'd asked me 2-3 years ago if that was important, I'll be like, no, that's some weird thing that precision shooters do. But now, like, I almost refuse to shoot a rifle in competition without it. I want my stock, and I set it up a very specific way. And when I get a new one, I set it next to the old one, and I like measure it out.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the final configuration for me. I think I've got the length of pull down pretty well. I think I've got the comb height. I haven't messed with the cant or anything, but so this is a Dissonant Arms stock, and it's like wildly adjustable, almost too much to be confusing for me.
But it's a series of straight lines and right angles, and there isn't a single one of those in your body. So think about that.
All right, what's the next one, Max?
Next one, optic placement. We get this one a lot at work, but essentially, where on this rail are you putting the optic? Is it in an optimal place so that you don't have scope shadow? The way you do that is you want to turn it all the way up to 6 or whatever power your optic goes to, because that's where scope shadow is going to be the most prevalent. And then you want to place the scope on the rail so that you're not getting scope shadow. And don't cheat on this. When you put it on there, close your eyes, shoulder the rifle, open your eyes, and see if there's any scope shadow there. And then if there is, see which way you have to go to get rid of it. And if you have to like turtle your head or move forward or back. Oh yeah, I can make that work. Nope, it's in the wrong spot.
Yeah,
You should move it.
cheating is important because you can do it easily and you can do it without thinking you're doing it. I found after after building a whole new rifle that I was definitely cheating on my last scope. That for the longest time that A2 stock was pretty good, but I think I had my scope placement wrong on where it was at.
Yep.
So it wasn't like 100% comfortable every time I lied down.
Yep. So turn it up all the way to the highest power, and then place it in the spot that works best for you. And be honest, because it's a big deal. It's a subtle adjustment that will make a big difference.
Yeah, the next one here is going to be the trigger. This particular one is a Hyperfire. I've got like a grocery sack full of triggers around here somewhere. There was a period of time where I decided that I was going to try every single trigger out there.
Good God, man!
Oh, dude, yeah, and I've got a lot of triggers. I have a fancy trigger for every rifle I own, and I own a lot of rifles. So again, this one's a Hyperfire. You just want something that's much better than a GI trigger. Two stage or one stage is a personal preference. I found that I personally like single stage. With the two stage, they're very enjoyable to shoot off the bench. I found that I short stroked them in competition on double taps, which apparently is pretty common for a lot of people, but I had to actually experience it to see that. And then, I like as light of a break as possible. I think this is like 3-ish pounds or something like that. I just took like the lightest springs that Hyperfire had and threw the other ones over my shoulder.
As did I. But yeah, really, there you'll find a whole host of preferences on triggers. Everyone has their own. I prefer Hyperfire as well. But really, what we're looking for is in the context of this conversation is we're just cleaning it up. The military style trigger, the GI style trigger, is essentially designed as a full auto system, and it was designed to shoot military grade ammo. And you're probably not doing either of those things. You're probably using some sort of commercial ammo, and you're not shooting full auto. So you want to use a system that's a little bit more adapted to what we're trying to do, that eliminates some of the pre-travel and the creep, and then also has a good reset. So there's lots of good companies doing that. We prefer Hyperfire. This one's a Hyperfire. I use Hyperfire on all my stuff. Geisley, AR Gold.
Yeah, going from
Rise,
from this trigger right here to the rifle that's next to us, farther away till we get back to the bedroom. We've got like a Hyperfire. We have an AR Gold. We have 2 Timneys. We have 2 Rises, and then it goes into the mil spec, and those are all way in the back of the safe. So I've got a bunch from a bunch of different manufacturers. A lot of them are really great.
They're all different.
They're all different, yeah.
But they all accomplish the same goal.
If
you're buying some sort of aftermarket trigger, that's not government style, you're going to get a big improvement on your. Again, the trigger is your last physical control over the bullet, so you wanna spend some money there.
Yeah. All right. What's the next one, Adam?
Next one is
Blammo.
A lot of people don't respect ammo. They get the cheapest ammo they can.
I played that game.
Nothing wrong with that, but you want to be consistent. You want to use the same ammo match to match. So you have consistent performance, especially when we get into the next thing we're talking about. But most ammo performs pretty similarly, but under certain conditions, you can get curveballs because certain propellants behave differently in different weather conditions, namely temperature. Certain bullets fly differently through different barrels in different conditions. So as much as possible, you want to stay consistent in the ammo that you're using, and you want to use the ammo that you set your rifle up for so that you get consistent feeding. Because again, once we start, a lot of these rifles are assembled at home, or enhanced in some way with modified gas systems, enhanced buffer tubes, things like buffers, things like that. So we're changing the way the pressure is managed, which changes the way the gun cycles. So you're starting to take some of these variables into your own hands as you depart from the original system. So you want to stay consistent in the ammo that you select, especially if you're going to a major match. You want to use an ammo of a consistent quality so that you have good performance out of your rifle. Same thing as the fuel you put in your car.
Right. So I admit that as far as like 55 grain blaster ammo goes, I purchase all different kinds of ammo, but I only run one kind at a time. Like I will run. So I bought several cases of Fiocchi 55 grain, and I will run through all that until it's gone, and then I will move into the next case I have, which is or tactical 55 grain, and then I'll move in the next case I have, which is a Federal American Eagle. Right? Those are all consistent, really high quality ammunitions, but I don't intermingle them because one man's 55 grain is not the same as another man's, even though they are made to a mil spec. They definitely have point of impact changes through the same rifle. So I will stay, like you said, consistent that way.
Yep. I would say I do the same thing. I'll run through that because primarily the propellants. The propellants behave differently in the rifle, and when we've tuned it to the level that some of us are looking for, it starts to behave differently in the rifle. And then in the long range ammo, where you're trying to have some semblance of dope, you want to be fairly consistent with those bullets as well, because some of my struggles over the years have been switching between different loads for various reasons, and it always gave me kind of a little bit of inconsistency. It was something that I was zeroed with it, and it all checked out, but in the match, it just behaved a little bit differently on that day,
and that ends up hurting your match confidence as well. So
yeah, and you go backwards in a big hurry on a long range stage.
Yep. All right. So the last one we have talk about here is a comprehensive one. This is kind of a multi-part thing, and this is the gas system of the rifle. So what we're looking at here is how the rifle behaves as far as like a competition shooting rifle. And for me, it starts with the muzzle brake. You want to have a quality muzzle brake. Be careful of one that's too powerful, may send your rifle to dive down. You want to have an adjustable gas block so you can turn down the gas that is coming back into your system here, because you don't necessarily need all that mil spec greatness to operate the rifle. You can bleed some of it off and it'll make it softer. From there, we move to a low mass operating system, low mass bolt carrier group. This one's by JP, and it works in conjunction with their silent capture spring, which I would say not the best named part out there. Yes, it is silent, but that is not its best feature. I feel like that it controls recoil way more than you would expect by the name silent capture spring. So that whole system right there, that's running the length of the gun, that's one system, and that is going to be the fifth thing to change on your rifle to up your game.
That is the operative word, though, is system.
Yeah.
All those things are a system. They all play together. You don't necessarily need all of the Gucci things to be best, and not necessarily, they don't all necessarily play well together. So you have to
tune it together as a system.
Yeah, and you kind of have to mix and match a little bit. Some comps that may overpower some rifles may not overpower other rifles.
Yeah.
Some rifles may benefit from a low mass system. Some might want low mass doesn't mean one thing. Every company's bolt carrier weighs a little bit different.
Yeah, and I think there is like a law of diminishing return on low mass too, because these are the low mass operating systems for that JP produces. They do make an aluminum one as well. There's people that make titanium ones out there, aluminum ones that are like super light. But then I feel like that messes with accuracy a little bit too, because it doesn't necessarily get the gun back into battery all the way. So that's something to pay attention to.
There's a lot of testing that went into the military system for the military applications. So that works. But as we depart from that, you're departing from that system. So you have to keep in mind that you're changing some variables there, and it may have unforeseen outcomes.
Yep. We got one last bonus one here, AMAX.
Folks, it's 2019. Get yourself an ambi lower, okay? And not because you're left-handed, but because you're right-handed. These things right here, like this is the only reason I want to be right-handed. Right here.
I call this my unload choke clear button. Yeah, this is an American Defense Manufacturing lower receiver, and it does have full ambi, as I like to call it, flamby, full ambi, and it does have a left-handed magazine release too, for you wrong-sided people.
There are quite a few ambidextrous lowers out there now. This is probably one of the best.
Yeah, PWS makes one.
Knights Armament, Santan Tactical,
Radian
Santan
makes good ones.
Radian Weapons.
Radian makes really good ones.
LWRC. There's a few of them out there. LMT. But I mean, we can have it on both sides now. So that's
So
definitely
might as well.
definitely an enhanced feature for the system.
There you go. So that's the 5 things to change in your rifle, plus a bonus thing to change in your rifle to improve your game today. Thanks,
Yeah.
Max.
Make sure you support the show. Follow the link over to Brownells. Use the Dave. What is it called?
It's the affiliate links.
Affiliate links. That's the term I was searching for. Use the 3 Gun Show affiliate link. Help out the show if you like the content.
Thanks, everybody. And we're out.